Alright, so welcome back. We are on Star Station in the upper left-hand corner. We do have our blue Zerg. It's going to be Solar from Samsung Galaxy. And Zeph, take the other player.
In the bottom right-hand corner, we have the yellow Protoss, an unknown entity. Rather, it is NOMATCH.
He literally just said where he was from because Solar asked, and I've already forgotten. But I remember it was in Europe, so I imagine Solar just wanted to know. A lot of the time it's because they want to know what the lag's going to be like. Of course, they're all playing on the NA server as it is Zotac NA, but then you have Solar from Korea and NOMATCH from Europe. So it could be weird.
Yeah, so hopefully it's a more or less even playing field in terms of lag for them. I think Korea should actually be alright to NA, kind of like C is, because I mean C is kind of decent, depending on which ISP you have. So Korea hopefully isn't too much of a stretch from there.
I believe it's better for Koreans to be on NA. So a lot of times you see the Europeans asking, can we go to a European server? I don't know the Zotac rules. I think maybe not for the weeklies. They can't, if they both agree on a server, they can't go on there anyways. You have to be on NA. Not actually entirely sure on that. Yeah, I know there's at least a few tournaments where if they both agree, they can go on a different server. But otherwise it's on, just the basic NA server. This is Zotac NA, guys, the weekly cup. And Solar, at least, I know he participated in a few other online cups, and he did pretty well. In fact, he got to the finals with his other teammate, and I don't know, I actually should check the player list to see if his other teammate is in here. But I imagine he would be one of the guys to get pretty far in the weekly cups.
Yeah, sure. I think he's been playing in Zotac EU a little bit as well. So he certainly had a lot of experience in Zotac against a bunch of different kinds of players, because you never really know who you're going to get. It's probably another reason why he's kind of asking who this person is, because sometimes you get Korean players that are actually just under Smurfs and whatnot. So hopefully we'll see a cool game. I mean, we don't really know anything about NOMATCH, so he's certainly got his work cut out for him against Solar, who's actually got a pretty sick ZVP, let alone being an awesome Korean player. So yeah, we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, Solar's also believed the one that everyone's been saying is really, really good, and like people will, are underestimating him and they shouldn't be. So there's that. And there are, who's the other guy? He's on IEM right now. Or the same thing, Sora. Yes, that's the other one. Yes,
oh wow,
Sora,
I haven't heard of him for a while.
Well, yeah, he's on IEM, and people have been really saying like, he's one of the best after his like really deep run in what was it, WCG or something. They're like, yeah, he was totally great, and we're like, you should know this, because everyone's just like, who is this guy? That one's actually pretty good.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I guess we'll have to see what this Protoss fellow is going to throw out in hopefully not too much longer. It's a pretty quiet early game. No crazy cannon rushes or anything of that sort, of course, which is cool because we can take it easy. And I've seen, I think, a lot of sort of robo-based builds on this map, a lot of Sentry model all-in kind of things, because the third on this map's still a little tough to take. But that said, though, it is a really long rush distance, so if you do want to do that, you have a long way to go and a lot of opportunities to get caught out. So, alright, we're going to have a Stargate instead.
Okay, so definitely a very popular opener nowadays in ZVP, other than like maybe like the 4-gate pressure or not type. So Stargate gives you a lot of control. The usual is the Phoenix, but people have been experimenting with Oracle openers, as well as just opening straight up into Void Race.
Yeah, the Oracle Open is pretty cool. I mean, it's caught a lot of people off guard still as well. You just have that Oracle charge in there, and then suddenly you've lost a mineral line. Well, hopefully not that drastic, but you certainly do get a few kills along with the map control, and then you're kind of free to do whatever. And if that's the case, he may very well go for a third at some point, following up with that Robo, as it is the most standard PvZ style that we usually see.
Yeah, and it is going to be an Oracle. You could follow this up with additional Void Ray, or not additional Void Ray, additional Stargate units, whatever it might be, or just completely switch over into Robo and other such stuff, and use, continually use that Oracle not only for harassment, but also for, of course, that Revelation spell, which, everyone says is underused, because it's true. People don't use it enough.
Yeah. course. Luckily, like for solo right now, there's not all that much that he has out on the map to kind of use Revelation on. But even so, you can have a look at say like the third or something like that and see how much drone he's going to that, making sure he's not doing some sort of big attack, which of course we know that he's not. He's just getting his Roach Warren extra gas now and throwing a few lings out on the map to try and pick off those Proxy Pylons nice and early, and he has indeed actually found one of them, down the bottom, but he's missed the other ones right in front of his base.
Yeah, interesting that NOMATCH is even putting a proxy pylon down. He only has 2 gateways, so either he's trying to fake out Solar that, hey, I have a lot more than I'm saying, or he just thinks maybe he can do something with an Oracle, 2 Zealots, and a Leadership 4, which, I don't know. Like, the Oracle, it can take down Lings really, really quickly, but he already has a Spore Crawler, the Queens are coming out, so yeah, it's not gonna do a whole lot.
Yeah, this is actually kind of smart. He forces him to move his queens out of position to try and deal with that at the third, and then moves the Oracle back into the main. Sadly, there's a Spore Crawler there, and he can't really find an angle, but he does pick up an extra couple of kills. Or rather, I think those are the first 2 kills he's actually got in this game. Now it's just going to be annoying. Poke away at the spawning pool. The Queen has returned home, so gonna have to get out of there now.
Yeah, that was a smart play, but of course, if they see it, then they're gonna have Spore Crawlers, and that just kind of makes that whole moving the Queens out of position very moot, so the Oracle is pretty much useless right now, but it will regain that energy, and it is blocked off. Those Slings are gonna maybe try and force out a force field, but they won't get one.
Yep, fortunately not. And he did actually kind of make a few too many Lings in response to that, so you're right about him maybe trying to fake him out, because he did only have 2 gates for that, and while Stargate plus 3-4 gate Zealot pressure is really common, he didn't go for that, so he certainly spent a fair few more lava on Lings than he probably intended to, but at the very least he has those for map control now, and he's using those very wisely, just going all around the map, making sure that he hasn't missed anything for now, because he does have to gear up and try and find out what his opponent is doing, and I believe he has scouted the road. Yes, he has, so he's pretty much in the know right now.
Yeah, I think he missed the robotics bay. Oh, well, no, he was going right in there anyway, so he's going to know exactly even how many gateways NOMATCH has. I believe NOMATCH is setting up to take a third, not to all in. He's getting kind of a motley mix of units, of Void Ray, some Immortals, and then of course going up to this Colossus. So yeah, is going to take that third, going to have a little bit of everything to deal with, I guess what Solar is going to be pushing out. But, Solar is getting Ling Hydra, which are very good against, just, 1 Void Ray, a couple of units on the ground, what NOMATCH has right now. And even with 1 Colossus, the amount of units that Solar will have might still be enough to, at the very least, cancel a third. NOMATCH might be forced to just say, I can't have it when Solar attacks, and just go back into his second.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's fully droned up for the 3 bases right now and taking his 4th. And these sort of Ling Hydra attacks against Stargate openers are really common because they are so good. And even if that Colossus does come out, like you said, he doesn't have extended thermal lance right off the bat, of course. So the Hydras can actually get in there and pick it off if he's not too careful with it. And he has made a ton of Lings. He's got 40 Lings, 8 Hydras out right now. I'm not sure that's enough to take this out as is, but he can certainly put on a bit of pressure and threaten him. We'll see if he actually lets him get at the third.
Looks like Solar's not really dedicating anything more into this attack, so I guess he is going to choose to back off. It's kind of a scary army right now as more gateway units have joined the fray, especially with those force fields, always kind of the scariest part, the ones that you don't necessarily remember until they happen. You're like, oh right, force field's pretty good against Ling Hydra, but we also have a Spire on the way as a double hatch, and yeah, with the +1 flyer attack, he is going to be going for Mutas, so not too unexpected, honestly. Mutas transitions have been very, very popular, and Solo didn't really put a whole lot of gas in this Hydra attack either, so hopefully NOMATCH will be able to identify this and not be caught too off guard by the Mutalisk.
Yeah, for sure. But for now, Solo's actually doing a really good job at just poking in and out with the Lings and Hydras that he did make, and keeping NOMATCH on his toes. It looks like he's poised with a few Lings to distract, although that force is heading across the map now. 10 meters on the way, 6 already out. There's only 12 Stalkers out, so if he engages with the ground army, he actually has a really good chance of taking this down, and if he focuses the Mothership Core in particular while he's out in the middle of the map, that could be bad news bears for our friend NOMATCH here.
Ooh, he might get a Colossus for his effort, but his army is entirely going down, and no, that was not worth it whatsoever. You want to try and trade off those Lings Hydras, for something to get Mutalisk, but that was pretty much for nothing, and
Oh
now he has absolutely
wow.
no ground army. He's gonna go for the counterattack, no match. I thought he saw the Mutalisk, but he definitely does now with the Stalkers warping in, but he's still gonna go home and continue, maybe try and take out a fourth, and then recall back, or actually, that's not that many Mutalisks, so he just warps in some Stalkers, and that's it.
Yeah, he's making some extra mutalisks, but you're absolutely right. He doesn't quite have enough, and they're not together either. So he can't really just take out those stalkers as he might otherwise like to. Now, the good thing is that he did double expand, as you mentioned earlier, so if he loses one base, it's still okay, because he'll still have 4 bases. But can he hold off the push altogether? We'll have to find out. He's going to target down one Colossi, and it does fall, and Link's coming to join the fray as well. It looks like he may just have enough to push this
Where's the
back.
other Colossus? There's the other Colossus. I was wondering where that went to. That's pretty key, because if they can get the Colossus, the Lings do very, very well against just Stalkers. But if you have one Colossus, that's oftentimes enough to take care of the Lings. 38 more Lings are on the way. The Muta Clump, not very big at all. Only at 16. Like, honestly, if you're going to try and take on this army, you want, like, 40 maybe, like something really, really huge. And his Solar will have to give up his 3rd base. Luckily, he has 2 other ones that I believe NOMATCH has not scouted the 5th. Oh, he did actually see it going down. So he knows of all the base locations.
Yeah, well, we do have some drones evacuated from that 3rd base. You can send those down to the 4th mine for now, and it looks like we're going to have an all-out base trade here. The Lings flooding into the natural, going to pull out of there and go towards the 3rd. Mutas joining them in that regard, and that base should fall pretty. In fact, I think there might just be a little bit too much Zerg out on the field. There are Stalkers in the main, though, and if he gets another warp in there, that might be a little bit hard for Solar to be able to engage, although he's going for it now, and those Stalkers really don't have enough damage.
No, they don't, but they're taking down a lot of mutas with them at least. It's not that all, just like complete pounding by the Mutalisk, so the recall does go through, and that's really what he wanted. He wanted to take out 2 base at least, then recall, maybe save all 3 of his own bases. And while I saved the bases, he lost so many probes that it might not even matter. Down to 12 probes compared to 57. Solar's gonna have enough economy to make up for that lost natural and 3rd easy. Yeah.
NOMATCH realizing that he can't really contest the speed of the Zerg killing his bases, not with all those Lings in there, so unfortunately that's a tough decision to make because he's lost 46 probes, and the Zerg is still on 3 bases at the end of it all, so the Mutaflock, yes, it did take a few hits, he's still got 18 out, still got a bunch of Lings, and he is actually making the Spire again, so at the very least that got taken out. So he's going to have to regroup with his forces to be able to actually take on this Protoss army if that is his wish, or perhaps he's going to keep circumventing it. It looks like he's going for the counterattack style.
Yeah, I still don't think it's enough to take care of this army. It's mostly Stalkers and 1 Colossus always being the key to making sure the Lings don't just overpower him, so he's got to keep dancing around. And honestly, the longer that he dances around, I feel, the better it is for Solar. Not only that, his economy's already better than NOMATCH, but also the style, when mutas get out of hand, they get out of hand. And for us, we're having a very difficult time. And so far, NOMATCH is able to keep it down to a low count, but even that's still hard for him.
Exactly. Solar is just playing it beautifully, exactly as you're supposed to with mutas. Just using your mobility to the highest degree.
14 mutas on the way at once.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. He was definitely waiting for that Spire. He still has fairly decent economy to continue trickling those out, and unfortunately, NOMATCH. I mean, his Stalkers only have +1 to. We've got the +2 attack in the air coming down for Solar. He's retaking his natural now too, and it's really hard for NOMATCH to ever move out of his base. I think if he goes now, he's just got to go, and that's going to be the end of that. He's got to try and take out all the bases at once, because he's really not going to be afforded the position where he can actually try and catch those mutas out or anything like that.
No. The 3rd is also going to go down to a massive Ling run by. Solar was constantly waiting for that, knowing that 3rd was really low on health, and NOMATCH, he has no choice but to go for his own counterattack, but once again, it's not going to work. Solar can mass expand behind this and then have enough Mutalisk probably at the end of the day to take it out. And NOMATCH never got Blink. That is something really, really important you need when you're fighting against mutas, like, the basics, really. And he never got that, along with no Archons to stay back at home and really help out. So Solar, I believe, is going to take out all the bases, take out the clumps of the army where you can find them, and probably win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. There it is. GG.
Yeah, so looks maybe a little bit hairy in like maybe the mid game when that first push came out, but Solar made it work, and really the probe kills was where it was at. Like, no Nexus kills is kind of surprising, but he killed so many probes that it didn't matter.
Yeah, great decision making from Solo circumventing that army, and he will move on. It is best of one in the early rounds, isn't it? I always forget how this tournament works. Yeah, it is. Cool, cool. So we'll try and get another match for you guys up soon. I see Tager and Life are sitting at 3-2.